Right here? Or it doesn't matter, I guess.
Are much smarter.
Okay, so he's so good. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. All right, thank you. All right. Here, let's start. I think there's. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
It's okay. Ugh. Maybe we can wrap this around here and flip it there.
No, just.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Testing 1 2. Hey Eric, how you doing?
So I'll just went back into the courtroom.
Right.
It'll be a couple minutes, but
Okay.
I'll
Test 1 2 3 1 2 3. Test 1 2 3.
Just lay it down. Because it's gonna. It fell down before. Okay, thank you.
I'm trying to test it right now. Test 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. 1 2 3. Man, I wish. I wish. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15. Everybody good? Everybody, you good? CBS? Streamers? TMZ? Reuters? ABC? Court TV? The Dreamers? Dreamers and streamers? We're waiting on one more streamer to get it together. 1 2 3 4 5. 1 2 3 1 2 3. 1 2 3.
objection.
All right, District Attorney Hockman's going to come out. He'll give a statement, and we'll take a couple of questions, underlying couple, and then we'll be done. So we'll be out in 2 minutes.
My network went down. T-Mobile went down. Yours did too?
Good afternoon. My name is Nathan Hockman. I'm the Los Angeles County District Attorney. Today I am here to announce that Judge Charlene Olmedo held David Anthony Burke, who goes by the name of a singer David spelled D4vd, to answer for the horrific and barbaric killing of a 14-year-old at the time, Celeste Rivas Hernandez. She has held him to answer for first-degree murder with the special circumstances of lying in wait, doing this crime for financial gain, and murdering a witness to an investigation. David Anthony Burke has also been held to answer for the mutilation of the remains of Celeste Rivas Hernandez on September 8, 2025, and he has also been held to answer for engaging in continuous lewd and lascivious acts with a 13-year-old. What we have seen in this preliminary hearing, and the preliminary hearing was conducted by one of our most experienced deputy district attorneys, who is right here, Beth Silverman, and her team, working with the Los Angeles Police Department's Robbery Homicide Division. They methodically presented over 5 different days before Judge Olmedo the evidence that showed, and at this point we had to show it by probable cause, but by probable cause, and I would argue, by an overwhelming amount of probable cause, and we will eventually prove this beyond a reasonable doubt. It followed the timeline of the interactions between Celeste Rivas Hernandez when she started as a 12-year-old, then a 13-year-old, then a 14-year-old who never got to see her 15th birthday. Because in the intervening time where she had these interactions with Mr. Burke, he engaged in this sexual conduct with a 13-year-old repeatedly, over and over again. This came out in text messages that were presented, in videos and photographs that were presented to the judge that showed this sexual activity. Ms. Silverman methodically tracked the timeline of their interactions during 2022, 23, 24, 25, that eventually led to the time where Celeste Rivas Hernandez went over to Mr. Burke's house in the Hollywood Hills on April 23, 2025, and has never been heard of again. But what Ms. Silverman and her team were able to show to Judge Olmedo is that on April 23, 2025, what actually happened was the brutal and horrific murder of Ms. Hernandez, and thereafter, over the ensuing 5 months, how her body was chopped up, left in the front trunk of a Tesla, only to be discovered on September 8th, 2025, after the car, and this is Mr. Burke's car, had been towed to a tow yard. What now happens is that there will be an information that will be filed within the next week or so. That information will track these 3 felony counts that have already appeared in the complaint. August 31st will be the arraignment on that information. Thereafter, there will be a trial that will be set. That trial can be set as early as 60 days. And as we saw with the preliminary hearing, where the defense demanded that they have that preliminary hearing done within the time that the law allows, whatever time they want a preliminary hearing, we were ready. Often preliminary hearings in a case of this complexity take many, many more months than you have seen in this case. But when the defense demanded a quick preliminary hearing, we said, bring it on. And that's exactly what we did. If the defense wants a trial 60 days out or whenever they want this trial, we will be ready for that trial. So at this point, again, we don't have the one additional consideration is that Mr. Burke now is eligible for death penalty. The death penalty considerations are now being weighed. Part of that consideration will be any submission that the defense wants to submit to the district attorney's office. It is something that we will consider on whether or not we will seek the death penalty. At this point, the death penalty determination has not been made. I will now open it up for questions. The defense made many arguments. The defense did not present any evidence. And by the way, the defense doesn't have to do anything in a criminal case. At all points in time, a defendant is presumed innocent until and unless proven guilty. And today it was by probable cause. And at a trial, it will be beyond a reasonable doubt. We will have to convince 12 jurors unanimously to find every element of the crime in order to actually get a conviction. So the defense has made many arguments. Again, they are arguments at this point. The arguments themselves are not evidence. If and when the defense wants to present evidence at any point, we will match and meet that evidence and overcome any of the arguments or evidence in the trial that will be upcoming. So the other idea that you need to have is that a preliminary hearing is not designed for the prosecution to present all its evidence. Mr. Quealy is correct from the Los Angeles Times that there was additional evidence that was actually considered in this case that we anticipate being presented at trial. I'm not going to go into the specifics of that additional evidence, only to say that we presented a significant but small fraction of our evidence in this preliminary hearing. At a trial, we will present all our evidence because the proof at a trial will be beyond a reasonable doubt. We will not be allowed to use certain hearsay that you can use in a preliminary hearing that you cannot use in a trial. It has to be admissible evidence, and the witnesses will need to come in to establish all the foundation, the relevancy, and overcome any objections to the type of evidence. So you are correct that there will be additional and significant evidence presented at a trial that wasn't presented here at this preliminary hearing. I will take a question right here.
The evidence that we did see, particularly on Friday, I think it's, I think fair to say very graphic, very difficult both to deal with in many cases, it stands to be produced. How would you say the evidence in this case strikes you and how does it stand up against other cases?
We believe that the evidence at trial will be overwhelming to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt on the 3 charges with which Mr. Burke will be charged. You got a small preview of some of that evidence, including the text messages and the video and photographic evidence that was also presented directly to the judge. This was difficult evidence to even hear, but also the crime that we are dealing with is incredibly horrific and barbaric. And it's not shocking that the evidence that would prove a horrific and barbaric crime would itself also be very difficult to deal with and to watch and listen to. But that is the evidence. We'll make sure that the jury eventually has all the evidence in order to reach a verdict in this case. Let's say right here. I'm sorry, you have to speak up just a touch. So again, we have said this before, the unspeakable tragedy that the Rivas Hernandez family has had to go through to first lose their daughter, but to then find out how they lost their daughter is something that there are no words to do. All we can do at the district attorney's office is bring justice in this case by bringing that killer to justice. That killer is David Anthony Burke, and we intend to bring him to justice before a jury at a trial in the upcoming future.
One more question.
Right here. Again, at trial, we will bring in all relevant evidence that will establish all the elements of the crimes that have been charged. You heard a preview of that evidence in the preliminary hearing, whether it was, again, certain witness testimony, certain text messages, videos, photographs. There will be business records, and there will also be witnesses that are recipient witnesses. They have information that is relevant to establish the mental state of David Anthony Burke and the acts he committed. That evidence will be presented at trial, at the end of which we will be seeking a verdict of guilt on the 3 counts of which he will be charged: first-degree murder with the special circumstances of lying in wait, doing it for financial gain, and eliminating a witness in connection with that case, mutilation of human remains, and engaging in a continuous series of sexual acts with a minor that are lewd and lascivious acts. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Not at this time.
Calling the parents to testify? You were rabbit? I thought you were not a rabbit. No, you couldn't get in?
Good afternoon. My name is Patrick Steinfeld. I'm the family attorney. And can you hear me okay? Okay, can you hear me now? No? Can you hear me? Okay, I'll talk as loud as I can. I'm the family attorney. My name is Patrick Steinfeld. I just wanted to take a brief moment and let you know how the family is feeling after this preliminary hearing. They're relieved that the judge agreed with the prosecution that there's a sufficient evidence in order to hold David Anthony Burke accountable for these charges, which will hopefully proceed to trial. The defense wanted this evidence to see the light of day, and in the last 5 days it has seen the light of day, and the judge has agreed 100% with the prosecution that the evidence is sufficient to hold David Anthony Burke accountable for these charges. The family's relieved that it's done with. They're going to take a break, and they appreciate the hard work that the district attorney's office has done, as well as the investigation by LAPD investigators Corey Farrell and Detective Byers. And they also wanted to thank the media for your coverage. They haven't appeared before the media. They're very private individuals, and so they hope that you understand that even though they haven't appeared before the media, that they're grateful for the media's continued coverage and keeping Celeste's name in the news. The defense attorneys brought up some evidence that was deemed inadmissible at this preliminary hearing. They made allegations that didn't have any evidentiary basis, including the assertion that Celeste may have committed suicide or that Celeste was violent, and I personally found that very disturbing. It seems that the defense attorneys are stopping at nothing in an attempt to discredit the prosecution's evidence, and the family was horrified that the defense attorneys brought up evidence to put the blame on a 14-year-old child. I want you to remember February 17th, 2024. That is when Los Angeles County Sheriff's deputy did a welfare check on the home of David Anthony Burke and informed David that Celeste Rivas was 13 years old. David Anthony Burke has taken the position that Celeste said she was 18. He didn't know she was a child, but he knew because he was told in February of 2024 that Celeste was only 13 years old. This is a strict liability crime, meaning that if he's 18 and she's 13 and they're having sexual relations, that is automatically a crime. He does not have a defense. However, he had direct knowledge of Celeste's age and continued in their sexual relationship. So I find it abhorrent that the defense attorneys are trying to put any blame whatsoever on this young child. David Anthony Burke is known for a song called Romantic Homicide, and only a sick, disturbed mind like David Anthony Burke would think that a homicide is romantic. Thank you very much. Thank you.